Yeah, drink. It's kind of become ritual for us now. Alright, so today is the champion profile for Furia. Now, as promised, I said this was gonna happen during the Cassie one, and I'm gonna say here, I'm gonna be shitting on Furia this video. In my opinion, and this is something that annoys me, Furia is probably the most overrated healer. Like, I literally see so many Furias banned in ranked right now, and I don't see it. Now, just picking something. I'll just pick something right now just to show off. That sound effect is really weird. I don't know if you can hear it. What is that noise? Oh my god. The pips are so noisy. When the fuck did pips in the shooting range get noisy? By the way, I'm still using the default settings on this. I haven't changed it all. Damage fall off. The damage fall off is not that bad. Damage fall off is not that bad, in my opinion. That's not that bad. Okay, just starting off. Looking at her kit. Her base kit is very good. Her base kit is fantastic. All of the tools that she has Wings of Wrath, which is an escape ability that does damage. Pyre Strike can be buffed with Solar Blessing to do 6,000 heals per second on allies. She's got an ability that heals people for a nice burst of 1,000 with an additional 500 over 2 seconds, and it increases her rate of fire on her gun. And she has an ability that causes her to fly and becomes damage immune for 2 seconds, and then gives you this big team-wide bonus. Problem. That all works in theory. I think that's the unfortunate side to Furia, is that it all works in practice, in principle. It doesn't work necessarily in practice. Now, they have nerfed her, and I've been playing her the exact same way since they nerfed her. This is one of the problems that I see with Furia. Furia has such a high margin for healing. She has such a high ability to heal. But it's just outstripped by DPS. Because pretty much everything she does that's not a heal is DPS. See, everything that she does is damage. She also has a decent spread. Watch this. Can we line it up? I'm hitting both of them right now. I'm hitting 2 people because of the spread on her weapon. So that's something to note. She has basically a long-range bucked version of a shotgun. And she has a Pyre Strike for kills. And her Orbs of Wrath, I timed that wrong because they ran into the wall there. But the Wings of Wrath are very effective for that too. This is the problem with Furia. Let's look at this thing. Before I go into loadouts and kits, this is the problem. I see multiple different types of Furia. There's 4 types of Furias that I see. So there's Furias that do just straight healing. That they are beasts, they're godlike, they're, you know, they're gonna do 200,000 healing a game. They're gonna run Solar Blessing, they're gonna hit you, let's pretend that stopped on her, and they're gonna use your L2, and they're gonna heal an ally, and they're gonna dash backwards when they get into trouble. Like this. Those Furias need to be babysat, because they can't handle flankers. If a flanker or a damager, if somebody gets by and they're fucked, and it's like, oh my god, it's too much damage, I can't handle this, I need you to kill these people, I can't do it, I can't handle it. That becomes a problem for me. And then when you have how I play Furia, where I play for healing, but I'm also looking at damage. So, you know, I'm going to hit the Pyre Strike there for the heal, and I'm going to pop a heal on her, and then I'm going to shoot, and I'm going to pop a heal, and then I'm going to shoot, and then I'm going to pop a heal, and then I'm going to shoot. That's the style of play that I play her on.
That's 9 in a row.
Right? I like to play that style of play. I don't have to worry about when flankers come after me on Furia for the most part. Unless it's like routine. The only time as a healer I'm really gonna say, there's a flank after me, help! Is if they're routinely just ignoring the fact that there is a flank that kills me and comes after them, and they're like, oh my god, where'd the sky come from, brah? Then you have your more damage-oriented, but still healing Furias. So what they're going to do is, they may run a damage card with a healing build. They're going to use their Pyro Strike for damage, they're going to unload into you, they're going to Wings of Wrath out and pop a heal as they retreat. They're more focused on spreading it out over the duration of the game. But what's going to happen with those guys? Same thing. They're not going to do as much healing if their team gets jumped, but they're going to be able to defend themselves quite nicely, and that'll keep them alive so they can heal. Then there's Damage Furious. This is Damage Furia. Pyro Strike! Wings of Wrath! Shoot, 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 shoot! Just guns, guns, guns! Blam, blam, blam! Die, die, die! No, I have to reload! No, no, I don't care! No cooldowns! No cooldowns! We're gonna live forever! Ah! 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 You're dead! Die! Like that. And then a flank jumps up behind you, and all of your abilities on cooldown because you're just constantly spamming your DPS, and you get fucked up and die. Yeah, that's what I see. So those people that just play Furia for just straight damage and straight healing, you have to babysit them. And that's the problem, as a support champion. Now we will look at builds. So let's start. You have 2 clear damage cards, and you have 2 clear healing cards. That's important to note on Furia. Now, where I think Furia really goes wrong is that this card is easy to counter, this card is easy to counter, and this card is easy to counter. And you can counter this card, but it's not going to do you much good. The problem is that card is inherently difficult to use. Okay? Let's start with the other 2 that I don't really use. So you have Exterminate. This is the one that I don't like. So, Pyro Strike hits an enemy and stops moving until the duration ends. Now, this is important because this gives your Pyro Strike damage. It will sit on an enemy, it keeps them stunned, and it does damage. We'll use... This is my reset build, by the way, just as an FYI. This works for Solar Blessing if you're focusing more on the Pyro Strike than on your Cherish. And that's why I call your L2. I call it Cherish. This is mostly, you know, hitting Pyro Strike reduces cooldown on Wings of Wrath, and hitting Wings of Wrath reduces cooldown on your Pyro Strike. This will also work much better with Celerity because you get 2 charges of Wings of Wrath. So I'll showcase this build there too. But this is an example, and this is the other thing too, you want to use your dash to move yourself backwards. So let's say he'll sit there and take the damage. It is a good chunk of damage. I don't know if it's enough to kill. We'll test it on the Sky here. She's 2,000 health.
So cold.
It is literally not enough to kill. So, you have to go up against stupid teams that are already taking on fire in order to get a kill. The Wings of Wrath combo is nice because that should kill. Yeah, that'll kill her. Getting the orb damage on there. But, again, not a fan. It's also every Wing of Wrath, by the way, that hits that you drop the cooldown by 2 seconds. That's why I like it. But I'm not a fan of this card, mostly because of the fact, okay, so I just shoot it. I'm gonna shoot it right down Main Street here. It's gonna completely miss. That's the problem with your Pyro Strike, is if you miss it, you've wasted it, and you're sitting on a cooldown. Turn that off. So now, the next build I want to show off is the Celerity, and we're going to run the same loadout, the reset, and that's going to be important for this reason. So, we'll hit the Pyro Strike, it won't stop, it'll go straight through, but we can Celerity twice, and that will reset it so that we can hit it. And that'll hit, so we can Wings of Wrath backwards. This allows you to have a much higher degree of DPS. This allows you to be much more flexible in DPS. Now, you want to take Chronos here because you're going to need to do more healing, but this gives you a good degree of flex. I will fire that off just to... Oh, that didn't hit. Oh, yeah, it did. Okay. So now you have 2 charges. What you need to realize is this. Now you have double mobility backwards. And that becomes very important, having that mobility. Excuse me. Excuse me. that backwards mobility becomes very important on her as a whole because of the fact that you're going to need to use that mobility to not necessarily get around, but to avoid problems. One of the problems that I have with Furia, she's not a very good push healer. What I mean by that is an aggressive healer, where if you have a damage at flank that are pushing up into the enemy and trying to, you know, dismount them, or they're trying to spawn camp them, she's not very good at pushing up. Which we're going to talk about a little bit more. I personally like this card, but it's my go-to on the damage side, but not on the healing side. So now we look at healing, and this is the thing. So these two are really good. The problem with Furia, in my opinion, is she reminds me a lot of Pip to me. See, I see these big gaudy numbers in short term. When I'm using Solar Blessing and I hit a tank and heal them up for 3,000 health in 1 second, I go, well, damn! I'm gonna get top healer, and I'm constantly hitting my cherish in between, so it's, you know, Pyre Strike, cherish, 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 Pyre Strike, cherish, cherish, cherish. And it reminds me a lot of Mega Potion Pip, where here's 2,400, here's 2,400, here's 2,400. I'm gonna get top healer, man. I'm hitting all these tanks for 2,400. Here's 2,400, and then I end up losing out to Ceres, and it's a bit annoying. We're gonna start with cherish because it's very basic. It just buffs your healing. By the way, this is the damage build right here. This is on any card. This is what I use for damage. This is mostly just, it's mostly there for the ammo. You can take it or leave it. I get rid of that card. This is what I call no mana loss. Now, this is the best card that you can run on Cherish, in my opinion. So, you have the 1 second cooldown off of Kindle Soul, so that drops it down to 4 seconds again. Now, the funny thing is, people are absolutely screaming about the nerf that they just made the other day to her, saying, oh, well, you know, they nerfed her now. She's at 5 seconds. Oh, you need Chronos now. I've been playing around a 4 second cooldown for God knows how long. I didn't run builds. I wanted to get myself familiar with how she played, sort of as a default setting. I never added Lightforge into my loadouts until Koga was added to the game. Seriously, I kid you not. I have not run Lightforge in any build until after Koga came into the game. So this is a relatively new addition to me because I am comfortable on a 4 second heal. I'm comfortable doing it. I played Ceres without any cooldown reduction cards for a while to get a feel for that longer, I call it a long game healer, a slower pace of game type healer. And Furia is a champion that she does work well on that 4 second cooldown. So don't think that you necessarily, oh my god, I have to buy Chronos and max it out and I have to run the cooldown card, I need 2 seconds, oh my god. It's not worth it. The Wrath decaying slower. That's the big thing for me, because this enables you to do healing. Now, for this portion of the video, we have to go over the shooting range. This enables that. So let's start off with this. So you get that big burst heal, and that lets you fire faster, and that gives you the boost into the rate of fire. Okay, he died. But you see, alright, so now we're gonna just turn that off. I'll pop him with a heal for a minute. Alright, so now we're gonna see how long it takes for the Wrath to decay. And that's the important thing. Is that Wrath the Wrath decays. Oh shit. Right, I didn't mean to do that. I don't like how big that is. But, so the Wrath decays slowly over time. And it boosts your rate of fire. And that's important because of the fact that this boosts your DPS. Especially with people complaining about damage fall off. I don't really complain about damage fall off.
I will not allow you monsters to live.
It's very slowly going down. The rate of fire is going slowly down with it. So not that slow. That's a nice boost. It's not great, but it's nice. Now it gets slower and slower.
Fire claims you.
And now I think we're back to pretty close to basic. And then this is how quickly it takes to reset. I gotta actually hit him for damage. Hold on. And you get almost a chunk of your bar up right away. So you really only need to put out 1 or 2 heals to get that wrath up very quickly. And that's the thing that I like about it. You only need that 1 or 2 heals to get your rate of fire up. So it encourages good healing. Now we have Solar Blessing. This is my Solar Blessing build right here. I still have the Light Forge, but rather than the Wrath decaying less slowly, I have the Solar Flare so I can hit my Pyre Strike better. Now this is the big thing. This is your big healing ability. This is your get out of heal free card. Now you're not going to be doing as big of a burst on this, okay? You see, that's not as great. This is what you get though. And then you pop a heal in between. I'm not gonna get it back in time. I missed it. Reset that. Reload. Still have that nice rate of fire.
Purify.
That is nice healing. The thing you have to worry about on Solar Blessing is this. Okay, so here's Fernando. And here's the Leanne. The Leanne's above you. Leanne's up here, right? It's Magistrate's Archive. Fernando's low. And instead, it stops on the Leanne. Instead of the Nando. And so now he doesn't get any healing and you have to use your Kindle Soul. Now, this is the problem with Fury, in my opinion. All of these look real simple. In execution, it's a lot harder to pull off than just simply, oh yeah, I'm just going to be able to hit you for my Pyro Strike. You know, at long range against a moving target, he moves slightly to the right, like that. He doesn't get hit. You do have a range, and this is something I want to note. This is the range on your healing at your L2. Not that. That. Not that. That. This does not heal you. Come around the wall. I love people that think that Damba and Furia heal like Genos does. Just through walls they will heal you. And now, yes, technically I can heal you. If your tank is holding perfectly still. Solar Blessing is a very hard card to run because it has a long cooldown if you miss the heal. Plain and simple. You miss the heal, you miss it. Furia also has all the tools she needs if she gets jumped. Just like Tyra does. A lot of people tell me Tyra is horrible if she gets jumped by a flanker. Well, no, she's not. She's just like Furia, in my opinion. She has all the tools at her disposal to be good if she gets jumped by a flanker. I'm focusing on this, and the Sky right here were to jump me. Well, what do? Dash away. Hot shots as I go back. It's not necessarily a requirement that I have to scream out for help because the flanker comes after me, nor do I just turn around and go, da, 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 blah, 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 blah. No. She has all the tools at her disposal to deal with enemies how she needs to. We're going to talk about items real quick. Illuminate is a surprisingly good choice if you have a Sky, because Sky is like... See, the less mobile flanks are the flanks that really get Furia, because when they get behind you, they stay behind you. God damn it, little dog. So, Furia does not work well against people like Sky, or Talus, or Lex, where they're not good in that range. They're not good if somebody just, like, stays up behind them. Blast Shields and Haven are good things. Now here's the thing, and this is... I'm going to combo this video over onto Kronos, and this is a controversial thing. I get told all the time, there's two things. One, why don't you buy Kronos? And two, most importantly, why do you think that support shouldn't be banned in ranked? And we're going to cover that after the item menu. But I want to bring that up. We're folding that into this video because it's going to balance out my points on Furia. So let's start. Resilience, Haven, Blast Shields. These two, obviously, again, situational based on what the team comp you're going up against. They're very effective, though, because you are going to be a target. Basically, unlike most supports, you want to really plan around what the flank is. So, if you're running up against Maeve, Buck, Androxus, Xin, Sky, most of your flanks are direct damage. Pretty much any flank that is not Eevee, you want to get the Haven for, and if you're running up against Eevee, you want to consider Blast Shields. Even if the rest of the team is direct damage, you may want to, because Eevee's going to target you primarily. Resilience is still a very strong pick. She does have good CC. She does have good crowd control. That's one of the points I give her with her Pyre Strike. The problem is that's not very effective because there's 2 cards that change it so that you can't stun multiple people. You can stun one person, you can heal one person, or you can run the other 2 cards, and then you can actually stun multiple people. So that's where her CC really comes into play. That's why I don't really see a lot of people nowadays picking Resilience to counter Furia. It's mostly if there's some other type of Resilience, some other type of crowd control on the team, that they'll get Resilience on top of that. Kill to heal should be one of your first things out of the gate. It's a strong choice on any healer. And I keep telling people this. Kill to heal, not life rip. Rejuvenate if you have a second healer. You do not benefit from your own Pyro Strike, so don't think that. Veteran is not good on her. You're pretty much always in combat. Kill to heal, not life rep. She does do solid damage. I say she's a lot easier to do damage than healing because of the fact of this. Let's just go backwards real quick.
I feel stronger,
right.
healer.
If you have to actively encourage somebody that they need to do healing in order to do better damage. If you have to encourage people and tell them, hey, heal your allies and we'll give you a fire rate increase. That's bad character design in my opinion. Because that's telling that character, you're not a good healer, so if you do your fucking job and heal people, we'll give you damage. Yeah. Hey, you like that? You like the sound of damage? Alright, good job! Go kill some people now that you've healed one person. Oh, your wrath ran out. Well, heal him again! No, you shouldn't have to encourage somebody. That's why I'm not a fan of life rip. You're better off on kill to heal, because then you benefit from your assist and your damage. This is a very interesting category. Deft Hands is a decent choice on her because she's a slow reload speed. I don't recommend it. I do think Wrecker is a better option if they have shielding. There are better champions for reducing Wrecker, but you can very rapidly destroy a shield, and against higher health shields or static deployable shields, it is helpful. Cauterize is another thing that's very important because, again, that rate of fire increase does help with being able to keep a target cauterized. It allows you to finish better. If you're running more of a healing Furia, it's not necessarily a requirement. That's where I think the Wrecker's a little bit better. Now, this is where I really shock people. Her ult is not that good. I oftentimes find myself...
no mercy.
I oftentimes find myself wasting my ult just for the fire, just for the ability to fly. For the untargetable. More likely than not, I will use my ult to actually just get back on the map if I get knocked off. Because I will Wings of Wrath, like if Khan targets me for an ult and chucks me up, I will just Wings of Wrath and then activate my ult and use that 2 seconds to just glide back on. It's not a great... Again, in theory, it has all the tools that you need, because it has the 30% movement speed and the 30% damage bonus, which is great to anybody within 150 feet of you. It's fantastic. But A, they have to be around you. They have to be in that radius. They have to stay in that radius. You have to be alive. And it doesn't really work all that well on longer range champions who do more damage at range. So your snipers, your Shaolins, your Cassies, they're missing out. And if you're that close, generally you're going to be on the point or pushing the card up. That means the enemy team is still going to be able to damage your ass. So if you have to put out the bonus damage in order to kill the enemy team before they kill you. In my opinion, I really don't buy anything from this category. Chronos on occasion as a filler pick. If I have Kill the Heal 2, if I've got Caught up to 2, if I've got Haven up to 2, and I don't want to spend 900 credits, and that's the thing, I have to weigh the value. Do I try and save up the 900 credits to max one of those out, or do I spend something on the last category I haven't picked anything in, just so I can, you know, give us that little extra push? Then I can say Chronos. And we'll talk about Chronos later on, but it's not really worth it, in my opinion. I'll actually separate the video out. I'll do another one. We'll just wrap this up pretty quick. Nimble right here is a very important thing on Furia because of that movement speed. It does stack in your ult, so you do get that 60% movement speed, which is quite nice. I think it's very important to run, Master Rider so that you have better positioning. You can get in and out of, you can get into the fight faster and heal your team up rather than Nimble. But Furia is one of the few supports I can't crap on Nimble for, because even then, Master Rider is not a very strong choice on Furia. So this is one of the fewer times I say Nimble is not a shit pick on her. Other than that, your item choice to me should pretty much always be kill to heal, one of your 3 defensive options, and then caught or wrecker, and then as a filler at the end, something in utility. I don't think you should lead off with it. The problem is she has all these great and wonderful tools, but they don't oftentimes work well together, and that becomes a problem for me personally. Because she doesn't, even though she has all of these tools and they're very effective, you know, it's just simply not, the whole kit and caboodle is not effective enough in my opinion. It requires a lot of skill, and now people say, well, she's basically a higher health version of Damba. Nah, no. See, this is the difference between her and Damba, and this is something that's important to note. On Furia, your escape ability does not make you untargetable. Your escape ability does damage, but it doesn't let you escape. It puts you backwards. So if a flank jumps on you from behind and you try and use Wings of Wrath, you are going further into where that flank wants you to be. If Lex and Koga get behind you, blam, 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 and you dash backwards into them, they're saying, thank you, free damage, come on down. They don't care about the 750 damage unless they're already low. And their flanks, they'll run away if they get low. They're not going to stay and take it, like Moji. They're going to run away. When that happens to Damba, what Damba does is he chucks a gourd forward, he slithers forward into the gourd and says, hi, hey team, come help me, I got healing over here. And he basically uses his gourd as a defensive ward and says, if you want to kill me, you have to come in this circle, because I am being healed in this circle. And if you want to kill me in this circle, you have to come kill my friends who are in this circle with me. His damage isn't as good as Fury, but that's fine. It's, oh, well, his healing is better. In all honesty, his healing is actually less cooldown on it than Fury does. And that's another thing. He has a 3-second and a 10-second, and that can be knocked down to a 3-second and an 8-second without Chronos. Furia has a 5-second and a 14-second if you pick a legendary card that gives you the second heal in the first place. That's the big thing. So you pick the legendary card, so there's one caveat. And then you can reduce the cooldown on 1 to 4 seconds, so you're still a second off of Damba. And even it does more healing than Damba does. Still, it's an extra second. You're better off on the Damba. Damba can also recast it if he misses, pretty much instantaneously, which Furia can't do. So there's another downside, but I'm not going to count that. So we have one caveat. So then there's the other thing. So now you run the loadout card for Pyre Strike. You can reduce the cooldown from 14 seconds all the way down to a whopping 9 seconds if you hit a Wings of Wrath. So there's another caveat on that you have to burn another ability and hit that ability to get the cooldown reduction on your other ability. So there's 2 caveats on her being able to out-heal Damba. And the other thing is this. Now, on Solar Blessing, it heals 6,000 per second. So if a Desintax with Leon is spamming you, you're still going to get 600. I love when my microphone gets disconnected like that. Anyways, so Furia, she heals 600 per second against Caught 3. Which is great. Yes, it's 600 per second. I mean, it's still better than most, let's be honest. But it's nothing. It's not 6,000 per second. You can die against that. Also, there are a couple of cards on her I don't think that you should run, like the shielding card. With the 250 health shield now, that's not worth it. In my opinion, at 500 health, it wasn't worth it. Like, I ran it 1 or 2 games, I didn't even run it again, I had the build for a class I taught, and that was it. I got rid of that build as soon as it was announced, because I'm like, it's not even worth it at 500. If it gave you, say, 150 or 200 health per increase, so where it was a 750 shield, or a 1,000 shield, where it was kind of it was closer to Torvald or Vivian. Like, at 1,000 per shield, it's basically a personal Vivian shield. That's great! That would be fun! That would be good! Then I could understand maybe having the cooldown be longer at 4 to 5 seconds as a loadout card. I think not as a loadout card, as a legendary card, you should have had that as an option. Instead of Cherish as it stands now. Which is, heals up to 25% additional health based on allies missing health. If that was, healing an ally now gives them 1,000 health shield for 3 seconds. Right? That, to me, would have been a much better card. Because right now, this is what you see. Solar Blessing or Exterminate. That's it. You don't see people running Celerity, and you don't see people running Cherish. Unless they know they can't hit their Pyro Strikes. And that's the problem with having 2 legendary cards based around 1 ability, is if you can't hit the ability, you got 2 cards in the shitter. It's like the Harpoon on Dredge. Which we're not going to talk about Dredge. I only have 5 games on him. So we're not going to talk about him. I am quite happy with him. But, in my opinion, where everybody says she's this big, bad healer, oh my god. She is, but the amount of execution it takes to play her. In my opinion, you're going to have this. You're either going to have a Fury that does a lot of damage, or a Fury that does a lot of healing, or she does a bit of both, but not enough of either. You're not going to have a middle ground on her, where you have a Fury that does 100k damage and 100k healing. I've had 1 game of it. I've had 1 game. My first game with 100k healing. And the sad part is, I did almost 200,000 in damage, and I just barely got over 100,000 in healing. Her damage ability is insane. I'm looking at my numbers right now. I have 90 games on Furia, mind you. I'm going to say I have had it maybe 5 to 10 games, somewhere in between there, over 100k healing. Every other support in the game, I have a minimum of 15 on. A minimum, and that's Pip! That's Pip! I have 82 games on Pip, and I still have more 100k healing games on Pip than I do on Furia. That's sad. But there you go. That's Furia. Good in practice, not on paper.